Eddie Van Halen anchored a 1971 pocket quarter directly into the wood of his six-string to lock down his unstable bridge. Not a special part, not an engineer's fix, a coin yanked from someone's jeans, not bassist Billy Sheehan's pocket actually, because though Eddie marched straight up to the bass titan demanding spare change, Sheehan didn't have any on him. That's it. That single snapshot encapsulates the chaotic history of instrument customization. Pure, stubborn, brilliant improvisation that nobody planned, but everyone copied. But how did a cheap pocket coin ignite a multi-million-dollar aftermarket boom that completely changed how we play? Every custom modification exists because a player eyed their gear and realized it fell short. That exact frustration birthed some of the most radical engineering in music history. Some upgrades remain dead simple, others demand chewing up your neck with a metal file. Every single one alters your relationship with your instrument. So where did this obsession actually start? Les Paul, 1940. He snatched a 4x4-inch block of pine, fastened it to an Epiphone hollow body, mounted raw pickups, and dubbed it the Log. The most influential solid-body prototype ever constructed, assembled entirely from hardware store scraps. He marched it straight into Gibson's corporate suites in 1941, expecting a historic contract. They laughed out loud, mocked him as the character with the broomstick. A decade later, once Fender's solid-body instruments began shaking up the market, those same executives begged Les Paul for his signature. Genius, right? The breakthrough design that shaped rock history emerged from a joke corporate suits discarded. Now let's expose the upgrades that players consistently ruin. Coil splitting and coil tapping are not the same thing. Not even close. Splitting isolates a humbucker, two coils wired together, and kills one of them, morphing your thick tone into a bright, snappy single-coil bite. Tapping accomplishes something entirely different. It intercepts a single winding midway through its copper coil to choke the output power without removing any circuitry. Different results, alternate wiring, brand new sound. How many players have wired their rigs completely wrong because they confused those two concepts? Too many to count. And what about the treble bleed circuit, the one mod almost nobody outside of recording studios actually discusses? Every performer twisting a volume knob desperately needs one. Roll that knob back and your pickup signal sheds the high frequencies first, leaving behind a muddy, flat blob of sonic mud. A treble bleed, built from either a simple capacitor, a parallel circuit, or a series circuit, keeps those highs singing at any level. 3 options. Install the wrong combination and your setup sounds worse than stock. Do scalloped fretboards actually make you faster? Not as advertised. Yngwie Malmsteen popularized them in the 1980s, but jazz fusion master John McLaughlin pioneered scalloped necks years earlier, conquering a custom 13-string acoustic hand-built by Abe Wachter for his ensemble Shakti. Scalloping gouges out the wood between each fret so your fingertip never grazes the fretboard. Bends feel entirely weightless. Vibrato expands. But press too hard and the note immediately spikes sharp, a brutal reality nobody warns beginners about. Eliminating that timbre only reduces physical friction. Attack the frets with heavy pressure and you just drift out of tune faster. When Fender partnered with Yngwie in November 1986 to design his signature Stratocaster, their engineers flatly refused to craft a solid brass nut because cutting that metal devoured too much budget. He secured it anyway. Of course he did. What about locking tuners? Do they actually fix your cheap instrument's tuning stability? Not even close. They clamp the string at the post to accelerate string changes, but if your neck shifts or your nut pinches, how is a lock on the headstock going to save you? Not even a fraction. And look at what 2026 has done to hardware. The Rock in Tune Bridge debuted at NAMM 2025, a purely mechanical system that toggles entire tunings instantly, with zero software, zero digital modeling, just raw physics. Simultaneously, companies like Mojotone, Obsidian Wire, and EMG have turned solderless harnesses into industry standards, meaning a complete electronics overhaul requires only a screwdriver and 10 minutes of effort. This entire obsession started with a pioneer fastening pine to a broomstick while corporate suits jeered. Today, we manipulate mechanical force to reshape our sound instantly. Every carved fret, every drilled hole, every wired circuit, all of it flows from a player deciding the gear they owned wasn't the tool they deserved. The coin in Eddie Van Halen's iconic weapon represented no mere patch. It stood as a permanent declaration. Build the machine you need, not the one they handed you.